All right. All right. Let's do a brief audio and visual check. You guys can see I am on the road. I am traveling, and my man over here to my right, your left,
All
as
right.
always, Coach Jay, he is running all the behind the scenes, but audio looks good. Video looks good, Jay. I don't have the green screen behind me. I do have a natural background tonight. You might see
Looking pretty good.
some airplanes landing. But the beauty of trading, right? We trade for freedom, and everyone's freedom looks a little bit different, right? And it's one of the luxuries of trading. I love it, Jay. I know you love it too. Traveling, being able to just plug in wherever there's strong internet, connect to these markets, watch these markets, trade these markets from basically anywhere around the world, as long as you have that strong internet connection. How are you, Jay?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Had a good trading day today. Traded it up during fast markets. Got short the Russell. Didn't really do too much. Had some stuff I needed to take care of, but that is the luxury that we have as traders as well. To be able to set your own hours. Set your own hours. So today was a short day for me. There was a crazy volatility in the markets, but what are we seeing right now? I saw your post on
Yeah,
Twitter saying the equity markets are already crazy. What are you seeing here?
it is absolutely insane. But before we get going, let's do that all important risk disclosure in the YouTube chat. There's that top step risk disclosure. Everything that we go over each and every night is for education. It's not financial advice. It's not a signals class. Definitely not a signals class. We know that. We're just here to learn, navigate these markets together. But yeah, let's take this. I'll take control for most of this time, Coach Jay, and I'll give you kind of the wink or the signal when I have to dip. But look at the NASDAQ. This volatility is absolutely insane. It surprises me on some of the moves that we are getting here. This is a 5-minute chart, and we had that huge sell off followed by, just as big of a rally. And we're kind of hovering just below the prices we were last night, 24,800. We came down, tested these 24,300. That, what, 3, 4, 5 months that we've been here consolidating. This is the lower end of the range. Sure enough, we found buyers. These markets are absolutely resilient. And as we zoom in, don't want to get jaded by the size of these candlesticks. As we zoom in, this little spike that we've seen tonight, that's 120 points up and 100 points right back down. So even though the candlesticks and the y-axis doesn't really change very much day to day, the volatility and the points, they do. So that's something that we do have to pay attention to. Sometimes it throws me off and I have to adjust as well. It seems like you never get used to it when we have these huge spikes in volatility. But yeah, you can see 100 points up, 100 points down. This is a 5-minute candlestick, and we are seeing moves in these markets since we started. These last 5 minutes, just right there. That's what, 20, 30 points. This is insane, man. Small size, wide stops. Are you seeing anything?
In the Nasdaq, I'll switch it over to my screens really quick. In
Yeah.
the Nasdaq, what I'm seeing is a lot of back and forth right now. If I look at the 30-minute candle to open up the range, we're pretty range bound. So if I saw a trade opportunity here, it would be a short, just because we are kind of stuck in this range. The Asia session is just opening up here, so we might see some volatility. But right now, I'm seeing a short. But like you said, small size, wide stops if I'm going to take anything. Maybe to kind of fade back into the lower extreme of the range, somewhere near 24,680s, until we decide a direction. I think the one thing we've seen in the equity markets is that on a higher time frame, they're pretty range bound. But you look at last night, $600 point sell off, and then today we get a 500 point rally intraday. There's a ton of opportunity here. Right now, I'm seeing a short in the Nasdaq though.
I have a hard time. I shouldn't be having a hard time shorting this market. We've seen what happened last night. I was actually talking to Dobie. I was talking to
Okay.
Dobie. Like, hey, just talking about scheduling, talking about this week, and talking about how this market's been. He's a range bound trader, right? And I told him, I was like, man, I woke up this morning. I woke up really early for the New York session, and you look at the hourly chart, and it really was just 11 hours of just straight selling. There was 11 red candlesticks here on the hourly chart. You got my charts pulled up, right?
Yep, your charts are up.
Okay, there you go. I mean, look at this. It was just all night
Yeah.
through the London session, through the uh, just it was insane. And then sure enough, 3 bar reversal right there at the bottom. And that was the low. That was definitely the low. Can we see what we seen last night? Sure. We do have non-farm payroll this Friday. That's very important. But I think a lot of that is overshadowed by the war that's going on and all the everything, yeah, all these headlines. But yeah, maybe we do see something similar. We just sell off throughout the overnight session, back down and retest these lows. It's hard. It's a difficult trade to hold into through all this volatility. But yeah, small size, wide stops. Let's take a look at gold real quick, and then I'm going to zoom in and see if I got it. I gotta have a trade here during slow markets while I'm at the airport. That's definitely
Slow markets on the road.
part
You
of
got to
it.
put on a trade, right?
Oh, definitely. Even if it's just a micro scalp. I mean, look at gold. That was very unexpected here on gold. Um, big sell off. Big sell off here. I was not
Yeah,
expecting this. From 5,400
I wasn't either.
down test almost 5,000, and now we're getting a little bit of a pop. We're getting a little bit of a pop here. Yeah, I'm not seeing too much. I'm going to focus on the
Yeah.
NASDAQ. We're getting plenty of volatility in the NASDAQ, and you can see the spread, the bid and ask on gold. It is volatile. I'm still getting adjusted to this new slow market session, right? It's only
Half hour
7:07.
earlier makes a difference.
Yeah, it does, and we're seeing volatility. So I still am getting adjusted. It'll probably be a week until I'm fully adjusted to the new session, right? We got the bottom of the hour, then the top of the hour. And I guess with anything, right? When you're trading a new instrument or you're trading a new time frame, you have to adjust, and you don't just adjust, jump right in, start putting big risk into it. But just adjusting your time frame, especially good conversation piece. When you travel different time zones.
Oh
Don't
yeah,
forget, right? It's
that's
like
an
New York
adjustment.
session. Is this Central Time? Is this Eastern Time? Depending, if you're around the world, you're London. If you are traveling and trading, that is a big thing you need to get adjusted to. I mean, just talk to Aaron Trades, who does the London Open. He says the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like what time? I had that last week when I was in Chicago. Like, wait, I'm an hour behind, so I have to remember that things happen at different times. Adjust to those time zones for sure. So you're focusing on the Nasdaq here. I see a little bit of a pullback in Nasdaq. I'm looking at maybe a potential gold long. I don't have gold data on my live account, so if I took it, it would just be in a combine. But if we start to break, yeah, I'm looking at. You know what? I don't want to put on a trade just to put on a trade, but I see a gold long potential here, maybe back up to 5200s. It's not setting up just yet. What I'm looking at is this 3-minute candle that opened up the Asia session. If we start to see volume trade outside this candle, then I want to be long. So if VWAP starts to trade above 5168, I'm scouting a gold long there. We'll see though. We'll let that one play out. Right now, it's just
That
kind of stuck
short,
in the
that
middle of the
short
range.
Nasdaq's playing out pretty well for you, man. That short
It
Nasdaq,
is,
what do you
man.
call
It
that?
is, man. I was
Call out.
I was
That's
making sure I was I was making sure I was producing, but yeah, this Nasdaq short is it's the one. And the reason I like that trade, right? We have 30 minutes that opened up session. VWAP's a flat line, so you could see on this extension above, we rejected, traded back into the range. We tried to trade above the high again, and we're just kind of falling right back into the middle of it. So we'll see, right? If we get an extension outside the low of this range price wise and VWAP is still flat, it may be a great long opportunity. How many times do you take range trades before you say it's done?
oh
But
breaks.
that's kind of
Yeah,
exactly the trade playing out right there. Yeah.
it's always with hindsight, right? Dobie's a lot better than I am with this, right? It's hard to
Yeah.
take a range trade when we're as a breakout trader. We get down to a level of support and this volatility, and you're expecting it to break down. For example, like the Nasdaq, when if it approaches these lower levels at like 680s to 690s, I'm going to be looking for it to break down to 620s, right? And then on the opposite side, someone taking the fading me or the opposite side of this trade is looking for it to reverse. It's a decision zone. That's why it's called a decision zone for a reason. Both sides of these markets are making those decisions.
Absolutely. Let's see with this gold long. Could be scouting one here. Sandra says, what about silver? Dakota, when's the last time you placed a silver trade?
Ooh, it was before that
I know the
huge
date.
40% sell-off, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's been
January
way too
29th, last
volatile.
time I placed a silver trade.
Yeah, it's been way too volatile. Every time I've checked the market, like look at this NASDAQ just sell off. Every time I look at silver, we're either up or down 5% minimum. Minimum. Today, I think we were even down 10% at a moment in time. So I've been just staying away from silver. Gold's been good, right, with smaller size, but NASDAQ's been here. Here we are. I mean, look at this volatility. Since you said you like that short, we're down 70 points. 70 points, bumping at this 700 level. It's tempting, man. It's tempting to short this, see if we sell off throughout the Asian session.
It is going. 680s was that price I'd be looking at towards the downside. Just the kind of lower extreme of that range. If you look at the first half an hour, switch it back over to my charts really quick. But yeah, just kind of staying in this range, seeing how it plays around in this range. I did put on a micro gold long as well. Again, this is just in a combine. I don't have gold data with my live account just yet. Just subscribed to the data today, so it'll be a little bit before I get that in the live account. But if we're starting to break this Asia session 3-minute range to the upside, I want to be in this trade. So long 2 micro gold, 51.6860. Again, anything we say here is for educational purposes only, not trading or investment advice. Risk goes on the other side of that 3-minute candle. So risking about $450. This is a trade that I would take. I would potentially add to this if we came back down to hold 51.57s.
Okay.
Which is the midpoint of this range. So maybe the max I'd probably get into is 4, but long 2 now on a potential breakout here.
What market is that?
The NASDAQ trade was the one, though.
The NASDAQ.
That's a micro gold. That's
okay,
gold. That's
you're
gold.
long gold. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, long gold. Long gold.
This
NASDAQ. Yeah,
no,
what are you saying now?
I like that better than I like that better than the NASDAQ right now. This NASDAQ, just seeing so much volatility. We bounced off those 90s, 20 points, 30 points.
Yeah.
Almost. And this is like minute by minute. We're getting this volatility. The bottom of the hour is still in 17 minutes.
How many is this the first or second day of this is now the third day of earlier starts, right? For slow markets?
So we did Sunday nights to start. Monday night was the second.
Yeah, Sunday, Monday.
The third night. Yep. It's third night. How's everybody liking it? I was just
about to ask that. Great question.
I can see it's over at the.
How are we liking
I
the
can't see the
earlier
exact
start?
number tuning in. Let's see.
10:41 right now. 10:41.
Awesome.
Max says awesome.
Love it. Love the new time. Good. I think it's just all positive reviews, right? I mean, we got to the 700 likes every single day last week, and the audience is the ones that supply and demand, right? You guys asked for it, so perfect time start. We're seeing the volatility, right? This is
yes, we are.
Wouldn't be started yet, and we're already seeing this huge level of volatility coming in.
Yes, we are. George in the chat is asking, what would I look for to potentially add to this? So if we come down to 51.57s here and I see a reversal pattern, which looks like wicks on a 3-minute candle, then I would get into more here, right? I just need to see rejection, right? So something like this 3-minute candle right here where we trade price below it. VWAP is still holding above that 50%, which is why I want to get in long. I had a very similar trade in the Russell today, and I'll show that example really quick just so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about here. I was short the Russell on a 3-minute opening range breakout today during fast markets. So I got short here, but you see how this orange line VWAP is lower than that 50% line? I added at this 50% when it held. Risk still goes on the other side, right? So I got short 5 total because the market looked like it wanted to break down, and then this just gave me an opportunity for better trade location. Is it going to work out? I don't know. I don't know when any of my trades are going to work out, but it'll give me an opportunity to get in maybe to a bigger position and play the odds.
I wish I knew, man. if we knew when the
Right.
trades are going to work out, then trading would be so much easier.
Would it be boring? Think it would be boring if you knew
um,
exactly where the markets are going to go all the time? I don't think so. I'd say no.
I'd say no. I honestly, if you know where the markets are still going to go, you still could lose money. I was talking about this with on air fast markets Monday, right? I put on that trade for a long after we were rallying for a test of settlement. We were so close, and chat was like, "Oh, that's a stupid trade." I'm like, "Is it?" You know, of course it lost, and then 10 minutes later we ripped right back up and hit settlement. I'm like, ugh. It's crazy because if I would have put that same exact trade on the second time, it worked out perfect. You never know where these markets are going to go. I say it all the time. It's like, I wasn't wrong. I was just early. Well, both matter. Location and timing both matter in this
100%.
market.
100%. We'll see here. Gold kind of just chopping around. What's the NASDAQ doing right now?
Chopping around.
Got down
just
to those
700.
690s.
Yeah, we bounced off those 690s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking for 80s, but maybe that's as far down as they were willing to go. Yeah, I don't think if I knew exactly where the markets were going to go and could make money from it, I don't think I'd be bored at all. There's a lot you could do with the money you could make knowing exactly where the market was going to go.
I mean, institutions spend billions of dollars trying to predict where this market's going to go.
Yep.
Here comes the sell.
Question in the chat here.
I'm going to get into a trade.
Yeah,
I'm getting in a trade. I'm here at the airport. I am short NASDAQ 1 micro. And let's see if we could get this trade on. Got a wide stop. Not a lot of risk. I'm going to manage this manually. But I bottom ticked that. Let's see this. Wide stop for a reason. Got to put on a trade. Slow markets, traveling, live account. If you ever see me in a combine, that's because there's volatility. I was in a combine this morning after fast markets. No, I did not blow my live account. Okay, now we're getting sales. Look at this move. Look at this movement here.
Yes, it is. I mean, the lower extreme of that 30-minute candle is all the way down at 670s. So, I said 680s just to be, reasonable with the range, but I think there's potential here. I
like lower. I like 620s if we do break down 620s. Nice. That was that level of support. That's where we broke out during the New York session.
Trader Ano in the chat. I got your question there. I may answer that later. This is hashtag slow markets, everyone. So if you want to tag us on social media, I'm going to post my Twitter link in the chat. Tag us with your trader setups, your wins, your losses. If you're trading from a boat, if you're trading from the airport, hashtag slow markets. We'll bring them into you later in the day. We'll get some music going in a little bit here.
I don't know if the chat can see it in the background. Yeah, you can see the mountains. Yeah, I'm flying out of Salt Lake City.
Yep. Coach Hoop saying Crude going for new highs. I haven't. Crude has been very interesting market. It's crazy volatile. A bunch of headlines flying around with crude oil. Go ahead, Dakota.
No, I was gonna say I got to be leaving in about 5 minutes. So, look at this trade go. Right. Let's get this trade as see if I can get a little something, a little profit at this airport, and then I got to be dipping. They're starting the board, so I got a few minutes.
All right. Sounds good.
Definitely not going to let this
putting on. Coach Hoop, this is the O'Hare trade in live on live on TopstepTV. Dakota is putting on the O'Hare trade. Place a trade, get on the flight, and see what happens. Right.
Pay for the flight. Let's get it. Or at least a bottle of water at this rate. Oh, look at this, breaking through these 80s. Breaking.
Nice. This trade.
New session lows.
Man.
Maybe.
I was not producing a show right now. Those 760s were a beautiful short. Nice trade you got going on here, Dakota.
Let's get through a little bit more.
See what happens at here.
A little bit
Lower
more
extreme of
push,
this
a little bit more
range.
push. Oh wow!
Order
I'm out. Okay,
filled.
I'm out. $60.
There you go.
That was a
That
quick
that
one.
pays for a drink or a snack on the flight at least.
That pays for that.
At least maybe a bottle
What
of
a
water in the airport at this point.
And that's all you need. One micro is all that was too. I think this thing could get
Right.
down to 620s. I think it could get down to
Great trade,
620s
man.
too.
Very nice trade.
Wow.
Yeah, just let me know whenever you have to go. But we are seeing
Nope,
some continued selling here in
I
NASDAQ.
think
Go ahead.
that's it. I think that's it. I will be seeing everybody. I will be on for Fast Markets tomorrow morning. Jay,
Yep.
you're gonna be joining me too. You're gonna be joining
I
me.
will be on Fast Markets
It's-
trading me back. It should be a fun time.
Yes, and I'll be in the. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Look at this market just keep going. Trade small, wide stops, and manage risk, especially when this type of volatility is in these markets. Everyone, headlines hit anytime. We see that in all these markets: gold, crude oil, NASDAQ, and yeah. Thanks, Jay. I definitely appreciate you. Excited to have you on Fast Markets tomorrow.
Yeah, Fast Markets are going to be fun tomorrow, man. It's going to be a good time. These markets are presenting opportunity. We got to take advantage of them. So have a safe flight.
100%.
I will talk to you tomorrow. Get you out of here. Later, man.
Yeah, you have a safe trading session in this volatility.
Yeah, absolutely. Catch you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. Coach Dakota is going to head out there. Very nice trade he had going on there in the NASDAQ. Really nice short. Again, we were talking about it up here. I didn't get to take the short, reducing the show a little bit, but I'll explain why I like that short and maybe like a potential long here. So we have this first 30-minute opening range. One of the things Coach Paul and I look for every day is an urgency trade, right? If you look at last night's open, if you look at that first 30-minute candle, you see how price and VWAP leaves this range relatively early, right? We got 4 candles and prices leaving the range to the downside, volumes leaving the range to the downside as well. That ended up being the trend for almost the entire day. The NASDAQ is not showing that right now, right? We have this first 30-minute range. We got a flat VWAP, which what has it done so far? Extension to the upside. You know, somebody could have been looking at this like, oh man, this is going to break out. We hit 24,800s, reject, come right back into the range. This extension to the downside right now is happening on more volume, but I'm looking at it the same way. If this volume fails, if this price action fails to the downside, is there an opportunity to maybe buy it to go right back up into the middle of the range? So we'll see here. We'll be patient. I do have this micro gold trade on. Let me see where we're at as far as potentially adding to this trade. Not yet. I'm actually just going to put in an order to add to right at the 50% mark. We're holding that VWAP right now. This trade right now is probably a B minus, maybe a C plus at best. What would make this a better trade and why I call it a B minus C plus, so far for the whole session, we do have price and volume trading higher. But since the Asia session has started, we're kind of in that same place that the NASDAQ is in, right? We are in this 3-minute range. Price has tried to trade higher, VWAP hasn't. So we haven't left the range to the upside. So we'll see. Logan, what happened to the live account? I don't have data for gold yet in my live account. I just paid the data subscription today, so it'll be a couple days before I get it. But the live account's still open. I'm actually potentially, we're going to leave these orders here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch over because I actually do want to trade slow markets tonight. So I'm going to leave this order in for gold. If you guys can let me know if gold gets down to 51.57, I'm going to switch over to the live account and let's see if we can maybe find a trade in the equities. Let's just switch over here really quick. All right. Live account's still active though. We're still good to go here. Let's take a look because we were looking at the micro NASDAQ. But yeah, I'm still in that long micro gold. Yeah, and this is not Dakota. Coach Dakota was just here, put on a banger NASDAQ trade, and we'll see if we find any other opportunities here. What are you guys all looking at? Let me know in the chat. What markets are you looking at right now? I could see this popping right back up, to be honest here. We'll get some music playing in just a little bit. You guys can let me know whether or not that music is distracting. Where'd Dakota go? He was at the airport, so he had to catch a flight. Had to catch a flight. There is a potential long here in the NASDAQ. Don't love this trade, I'll be honest. I think it's a trade that'll play out, but I'll give you guys a little bit of kind of insight to my mindset trading with this live account. I only want to take what I consider A plus to maybe A minus trades in this live account. The trades that have got me to this point, the XFA, $137,000 balance in the XFA, was able to take payouts and stuff like that. Those were all high quality trades. My focus for 2026 was eliminating marginal trades from an account that really matters. And you might see me switch over to, a combine. One of the things, if you guys have seen me trade before, one of the things I like to focus on is momentum. And when there isn't momentum, I just know for myself, the probability of the trade working out is just a little bit lower. So what is an A trade? Great question, AJ Benitez. A trade for me would be something like the NASDAQ last night. So you see this range right here, price, volume, leave this range aggressively. That ends up being the trend for the rest of the day. That's an A plus setup. And I'm not assuming that I'm going to take the trade here. I'm probably going to get in somewhere short around this candle. But the fact that volume is pushing us lower tells me that this has the potential to be a trend. I'll show you another one that I took earlier today in the Russell, which was an A trade. Yeah, it was more like a B plus. But here is, I'll show you the executions on a similar trade in the Russell. So first 3 minutes of the Russell opening up, we have price leaving the range to the downside, and I'm seeing the market like this, right? So price is leaving the range to the downside. VWAP looks like it was going to go, and this is why I'm calling this a B plus. If that VWAP was leaving the range as soon as price was, then that would be an A plus. As you can see, I got in short on this candle here, added to it when we held 50%, and then got out here. This was like a $2,000 trade in 15 minutes. Those are the trades that I want to take. The futures markets are open 23 hours a day. Slow markets time, there are great trade opportunities. But if it isn't a definitive trade opportunity, because this is the live account and I want to build the balance and be able to unlock the entire balance, I can't take marginal trades at this point, right? They have to be high quality. And that's all I'm focused on. So if you see me switch over to a combine, that'll be why. I don't want to lose the live account, right? That'll be the worst thing to do on air. So if it's not high quality, I'm probably not going to take it in the live account. We may switch over to do, a feeler trade, and I'll let you guys know if that's the case. But again, anything we say here is for educational and entertainment purposes only, information purposes only, not trading or investment advice. Did gold get down to my price there? No such thing as slow markets anymore. Yeah, I mean, at this point, there is really no slow markets here. So I'm not seeing an A plus setup. I can scan a couple of different markets that I have access to. Let's see. The overnight session, we'll take these executions off here. In the overnight session, the Russell, another one, right? Price is advertising lower. VWAP is still a flat line. The best trade right now is I see is a long, but I'm not a great range trader, especially overnight. So, we can let this one go. What is your average risk to reward? It's right under a 2-to-1. It's probably like a 1.85 to 1 or something like that. Pretty close. I usually have like a 60% win rate. It's the win rate itself, the risk to reward itself is not enough data, but I'm usually somewhere around a 60% win rate because I aggressively manage my trades, right? I'm usually taking profits off the table as quickly as possible. Or maybe even going to break even. Sometimes it depends on the trade. But let's see here. NASDAQ is crazy right now. Yeah, let's see. We get some extension. I'm going to put on some music. You guys can let me know if the music is too loud. Distraction, we can turn it off. But we'll get some... How is that? Music good? Too loud? Perfect levels? I don't have Dakota's playlist, so we got a different playlist here. Gabe put this playlist together, so if you don't like it, blame Gabe. %of the music's good. All right, so because I'm not seeing an A+ setup, we'll just switch back over to the combine. Again, I'll be trading on fast markets again tomorrow. That is my best trading time of the day, so I'm excited to get on and trade if the markets are going to present great opportunities. That is where I've made most of the money on this live account since I've had it so far. I saw somebody ask what the balance is in the live account. It's right under 20 grand. I did take a payout, had 5 winning days to start the account, and then had a loss. And what I told myself is that if I have a losing day that is not, it is a daily loss limit losing day and I'm eligible for a payout, I'm going to take the payout. So the balance is like right under 20 grand right now, which was my starting balance. Ran it up to 27,000 and then go from there. But let's see here. Yeah, guys, I am not Coach Dakota. So I did get that ad there in micro gold. Let's see if this holds up. VWAP is still holding up for now. Now what I want to see is, these 3-minute candles not use this VWAP as a resistance here. What do you think about being less strict about entries? I think, traders try to sometimes perfect entries, right? I think there's a ton of traders that try to figure out how to sell this high tick up here in gold. And I think that is, that's tough to do. If I've been trading for a while now, if I could count on one hand the amount of times that I've sold the high tick. I actually can tell you exactly when. It was July 2025. I was the high tick in the NASDAQ, and I took it off for 40 points. Took it off for 40 points. Don't discount how good you are. I'm very confident in my trading abilities, for sure. And like I said, I don't mind not placing a trade if I don't see anything. But this trade here is probably going to get stopped out. For what it's looking like right now, that view and why didn't this trade work, right? So like I told you guys, I'm a momentum trader. See how price left this range to the upside, but VWAP is still in the range? Very similar to what we saw in the NASDAQ, right? Price left this range to the upside. Volume didn't. So that tells me flat VWAP, range bound market for now. We fall back into the range. So am I going to be surprised if I get stopped out of this gold trade? No. Then I start to look at it. What was the quality of this trade? This is probably a C+ trade at best, right? And that's where I'm saying I'll take it in a combine. I'll take it in a practice account. I'm not going to put real live money behind this because it's not showing what I would like, right? The A+ trade was if I'm a range trader, I see this extension to the upside, volume's not going with it. As a volume trader, this is the setup for a range bound market. The better trade would be a sell. I'm more inclined to look for breakouts. This is not a good breakout setup here, right? So whatever your trading strategy is, know what it looks like when it works and when it doesn't work. Noah from IT, you must be late. Says, where is Dakota? Dakota is catching a flight right now, but I'm Jay. Nice to meet you. What other markets are we looking at here? NQ is way too crazy right now. Is it really thin? Like, honestly, the NASDAQ looks like a great range trade to me. Let's see. We're going to put on a bunch of theory trades tonight. Again, these are not my highest quality setups, so I'm not putting real money behind it. Let's just see if the NASDAQ ends up being a range trade here. Watch the DOM. Yeah, let me pull one up, Dan. Let's see. Let's get the NASDAQ DOM up here. have I ever considered adding range trading to the tool belt? I do it. I do range trade. But if I'm ever taking oh yeah, look at this NASDAQ depth of market right here. This is super thin. There's ones and twos. There's a 5-tick spread. Be careful if you're trading the NASDAQ right now. Really any markets, right? If I look at gold is a pretty wide spread as well. So just be careful trading these markets. They're presenting opportunity, but again, there's opportunity on both sides. I've considered adding range trading. I do it every once in a while. I don't take the same position size in range trades that I do in momentum trades. And sometimes I see range at the extreme of momentum where I would add to a trade. There's a video that I posted on YouTube a couple of days ago where I did exactly that. The S&P had the potential to break down, but it wasn't going just yet. And I'll post a link to that video in the chat. And, you can see exactly what I'm talking about there. But there was a potential breakdown in the S&P, but there was a range at the upper extreme. There's a link to that video in the chat. Let's see here. So micro NASDAQ, we said it has the potential to be the range. We'll see. We pop right back up to the upper extreme. Micro gold, holding on for now. That ad turned out to be a pretty good ad for now. This volume is being respected, right? The volume that opened up the Asia session is being respected. That ad turned out to be a good ad because my original long was up here, so I brought the average down. Trader Ano, I'm trying to get to as many questions as I can, guys. I'm trying to place trades and run the show as well. What do you think about starting with a big stop, aiming for 1-to-1 and adjusting? All right, so I'll tell you my logic for stops. Got to thank my guy, Coach Paul, for this. I work with Coach Paul doing At the Buzzer every day after the market close. And here's my logic for stops. I entered this trade on a 3-minute. You see the ATR indicator under my charts? This white line? That value is 9.8. 2 times that value should be my stop. So somewhere around 17 points, which is where my stop is. That is my logic for setting stops. Every once in a while, it's going to be a little bit tighter, but I think if most traders could figure out how to trade with a 2 ATR stop with good trade location, you'd be in a much better place, right? Everybody tries to figure out how to trade the NASDAQ with a 10-point stop. That's not reality, right? You're going to get stopped out all the time. Coach Paul's a cool dude. Yeah, he is, Richard. He is. All right, I'll try to get to as many questions as possible. I see a bunch flying in here. Shout out to Bruno in the chat helping us moderate this. I know some of you that this probably shouldn't be the first time you see me trade, but we'll see. LA dude got the call up to live. Nice job. No, not less risk to reward, right? So if I'm going with a 2-to-1, if I'm going with a 2 ATR stop, my target is going to be a 2-to-1, right? So my target would be somewhere up here. You heard me say that I think gold has the potential, if it does break out, to trade up towards 5,200s. That ends up being a 2-to-1. But I'll be honest with you, Ano, I don't trade with static risk to rewards because the market doesn't work like that, in my opinion. If I say I entered this trade and it has to go 2-to-1, who the hell am I to tell the market what to do, right? I could measure wrong. I could have entered with a bad price. So what I normally do, and what you'll see me do if this trade actually starts working, is take profit on the way up to the target. Live account's going well, Chauncey. Live account is going well. This gold trade is not going well right now. But is anybody surprised, based on what we've talked about so far, is anybody surprised at the price action in gold right now? Why aren't we breaking out? Why aren't we going here? And it's because, in my opinion, VWAP is flat. There's no directional presence in this market right now. Same thing in micro NASDAQ. That trade is working out pretty well. Are we surprised that we're popping up right back into the middle of the range? Right? Price advertised lower, but volume is flat. What happens? Price advertises higher, volume is flat. We trade right back into the range. At this point, this trade doesn't need to be a loser. Right, but we got back up to the middle of the range. Right, so who was looking for a breakdown short here in the NASDAQ? And again, It depends on the time frame. If you're looking at a higher time frame, you might be looking at a 30-minute chart and you say, no, there's a ton of room lower. I'm going to wait for this market to break down. The way I was taught how to trade, want the market to go, and this is what my trading mentor used to say all the time, you want the market to go in your direction as quickly as possible. So if that's the case, you have to wait for volume to agree with your trade idea, because that momentum is going to give you the flow that you're looking for continuation. Right now, if you're looking for a short, the volume in the market isn't agreeing that there needs to be a short. And Jimmy, you said, honestly, I did look for a breakdown. Again, on a higher time frame, we could very easily get a breakdown in this market, right? And I see the room lower. What time frame am I trading on is the question. Right? For me, I'll look, and I saw somebody ask, am I normally using 3-minute charts? I'll use 3-minute, 30-minute, and daily charts. But this is looking like a decent trade here. Called out a good one. We called out a good short here. Did I just help anybody else identify ranges? Yeah, I can range trade, Ken. I can range trade. I don't like to, right? This is normally where I say, okay, go do something else. Go take the dog out for a walk. Go get lunch. Micro gold. Let's see. That's starting to cook a little bit as well here. See if we get this extension above the range. I don't like that VWAP is not going with this. Again, anything we say here is for educational purposes only. Let's see what we got. What is everybody else in right now? What is everybody else trading? Let me know in the chat. Let's take a look at the tilt. Anyone trading CL? We haven't looked at CL. We'll take a look. 79% long tilt there. I don't know how many traders are trading it. I'm going break even on this gold trade. Too many rejections at the upper extreme of this range. If they're not ready to go, then that's okay. Once they show me they're ready to go, then I'll do it. But I'm not willing to sit through that drawdown again. I don't think this is a good enough trade to be able to, sit through any drawdown. So go now or I'll get out. Bro looks like Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook looks like bro. Brad, we're in the same trade. Interesting. I think Russ is actually older than me, so I might look like him, but hey. All right, let's take a look at Crude. Take a look at Crude. 30-minute range in Crude. This is how I'm going to start every night, every overnight session. I'm going to look at the opening 30-minute candle. So, if this is your first time seeing me trade, what would my thought process be right now in Crude? Based on what we've talked about for the last 45 minutes, what would I be thinking in Crude right now? Long? Nah. Kind of crazy got it. Either an unsolicited trades got it. Either no trade or a short. Now, why is that? Based on this time frame, on this 30-minute time frame, we have the first 30-minute range. Where's VWAP? Still in the range, right? So could I want crude oil to trade higher? Yeah. And I think the environment right now that we're in says crude oil trades higher, but is there anything definitive saying that crude has to trade higher right now? I don't see it, right? So if I had to trade this, and the great thing about being a speculator, we don't have to trade anything. If I had to trade this, I would have to take a short, because this whole DNA is a range, just like we just saw in the NASDAQ, right? So if I traded crude right now, it would have to be a short, but I don't have to trade it. Right? I'm going to take 2 of those micro gold contracts off, because again, we're not getting the extension yet. This trade isn't going to be a loser. Worst I'll do on this micro gold trade is now $108. We hold above the high of this opening range. Maybe I'd add to it, but I think again, there's room up to 5,200s. We'll see here. But crude oil, let's go back to that for a second. Could it pop? It could. But again, if I had to trade this, it would have to be a short. But I don't have to trade it, right? And more often than not, when I'm looking at a market, if it looks like this, I'm going to decide not to trade it. Right? Because it's not showing me direction, right? Everybody's looking for, let me show you something here. This is what everybody's looking for in crude oil. We'll go to a 30-minute. If you're trading crude right now, you're looking for this, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you're trading crude and looking for this. Right? So Sammy, Trust Your Trade, Man Caves, right? Everybody's looking for this. So there's a way to find this. And I think a lot of trading is reverse engineering the setups that work out really well. What is VWAP doing in this case? Yesterday, last night, where we had this amazing rally in crude, what is VWAP doing here that it's not doing today? Crude oil is ripping right now. What time frame are you looking at? Right? VWAP left this range at some point. This is 9 p.m. Eastern time last night. Price and volume were already leaving this range. We're coming up on the top of the hour here in 13 minutes. Price left the range to the upside, but volume didn't. What happened when the NASDAQ did that? Right? Somebody, I guarantee you, somebody here said, oh, the NASDAQ's ripping, right? It's going to 25,000. We're going to make all-time highs. Oh shit, I just got stopped out. Anybody ever been there before? You think something's happening and it's really not? We trade such small size that we're susceptible to whoever the bigger volume is in the market. If they're not moving, the market's not moving. Right? But you could be long. And again, I'm looking at a shorter time frame maybe. So on your higher time frame charts, you may see a breakout here. But what is crude doing right now? What did we say earlier, right? If I had to trade crude right now and it was up at 75.50s, if I had to trade crude, it'd be a short. We're 30 ticks in the money right now if we took that short. Hopefully that makes sense. Check on our other trades. Micro gold starting to pop here. The NASDAQ just did something. What just happened in the NASDAQ? Did I get stopped out? I got stopped out in the NASDAQ. Stopped out for break even. Like I said, range trade. We rejected at the middle of the range. This is probably why I don't do it. Micro gold is cooking though. Right, here's how I would manage this one. See this previous high here that we just broke above? If we get below that, okay, gold. Let's go. If we get below this, which is the low of this 3-minute candle, then I'll take one off and I'll aggressively trail here. What's up, everybody? Hopefully, I mean, I'm doing this in the combine right now. Like I said, this is not my best trading time of the day. So, and I don't have gold data. So I have to trade this in the combine, but hopefully what I'm doing here is helping you guys learn the way I look at the market. It's not right. The way I look at the markets is not right. It's just the way I was taught to how to do it. Trader Ano, you said you were about to go to sleep. What question do you got? Do you think starting with a 1-to-1 risk reward with wide stops and adjusting stop as soon as momentum hits, or I need to expect at least 1 to 2 from the start? I think anytime you take a trade, you got to measure where the market has the potential to go, right? I think being very, and this is my personal opinion, being very hard on, I'm a 1-to-1 trader, I'm a 2-to-1 trader, I do 1.87 to 1 risk to rewards. I don't think the markets work like that. I think when you look for repeatable setups over time, the numbers will tell you what your risk to reward normally are, but you have to look at what can I identify to a high probability leads to a certain type of move. If I continue to take that move day in and day out, it's going to pay me a certain amount, and it's going to do that with a specific win rate. If I say I'm a 2-to-1 trader, I have to trade 2-to-1s, you know, I could call myself a 2-to-1 trader if I risk 1 point on the NASDAQ and look for 2 points every trade. What's the win rate going to be on that? Right? So I think starting with, and this is why I like the ATR risk, right? You saw me, the original risk on this trade was 2 ATRs, 17 points. Why do I use the ATR risk? Because that is market structure based. That's based on the volatility of the market. Everybody remember, the equities in February through April of last year, extreme volatility, right? Who here traded the 20-point stop with the NASDAQ and got stopped out every trade? I'm going to trail this up a little bit, the low of this 3-minute candle here. You see how once we started to break out, we haven't taken out a prior candle's low on the 3-minute. My stop's now going to go below this low. We trade below that low, then I'm out. Right. Yeah, dynamic approach. It has to be. I know it has to be dynamic, right? The markets change every day. Everyone was trading silver a month ago, right? Look at the volatility in silver on a daily. Daily ATR in silver got to $10. A year before that, it was at $1. No one can make any money trading silver a year ago, right? But when the volatility changes, we have to adapt as traders. All right, hopefully that's making sense. What's crude oil doing? Crude popping or selling? Oh shit, look at that. If I had to trade crude, we would sell it, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Meat Tent says, thanks so much. Your knowledge helped me pass the eval today. Lost my funded yesterday and we're right back in. Learned heaps. So I just got stopped out of one of those micro gold. Love to hear it. When is Topstep going to remove the restrictions? I don't know. When the volatility stops. So I think a lot of people think because we're range bound in the metals that the volatility is over. And then you get a 400-point move in gold in a day. Volatility is still here in the metals. All right, so stop on this last one. Is going to go below that prior high. Yeah, that's a wild name, Suvin, but hey. That is a wild name. How do you use the ATR for stop losses? I'll explain that one more time. So everybody has a higher time frame chart that they look at, right? You look at a 30-minute, you look at a daily. More often than not, that's going to be a wide stop. And I got to thank Coach Paul for this suggestion. I do at the buzzer with every day, but on whatever execution time frame you're on. So in this case, I execute all my trades on a 3-minute chart. You see this value? You see this value here? Hopefully you guys can see that. Yeah, this number right here. So if I hover over the candles, that shows 9.6. So if I was going to get in a gold trade right now, I'm going to take that value and multiply it by 2. So 9.6 times 2 is 19, right? 19.2. So my stop would be 19.2 points. My target would be 2 times that value. But I don't get to say where the markets are going to go. So my stop on this initial trade, when I got in, was 17 points, right? That's 2 times the ATR value on a 3-minute chart. My target is up here because that's 2 times the value. And it also makes sense, right? Logical area, 5,200 looks like a reasonable spot for the market to trade to. But because I don't know where the market's going to go, I'm going to secure some profits along the way. Right? 51.85 is this week's developing value low. What is the look back on the ATR? Great question. I keep everything standard, so it's a 14. All right, so we just took out that prior candle's low. That's the first time that's happened since we started this breakout. I wouldn't be surprised if this comes and gets me. That's why I have to take some profits. If this 3-minute candle now closes above this one, then that'll be my trail point, 51.77s. Right? Again, I see a bunch of questions in the chat. I know this is normally Coach Dakota's session. You guys are getting a little bit of insight into how I trade. Again, we talk about these trade setups all the time during At the Buzzer. Anyone's an At the Buzzer viewer, you know that this is just review session at this point. We do At the Buzzer every day, 4:15 Eastern time. After the close, where the markets aren't moving, I think it's the best learning time because we get to talk about what happened. And like I said, I think my job as a trader with back testing and all that stuff is to reverse engineer, figure out how something worked, and then try to do it in real time. Right? So Max, I know, right? I know. Shout out to all the educators in trading doing free classes right now. Shout out to my guy, Nick, for a tick. I don't know if he's in the chat, but so the thing is, right, I'm teaching a strategy right now, but we haven't talked about trading psychology. We haven't talked about, where you are in your life right now to be even able to execute trades. That's what really matters. Anybody could sell you a strategy. It's all the same shit. Everybody's looking at the same prices, right? In a different way. But you know, the strategy is probably 20% of trading. Please don't charge anything, Bruno. Bruno, I'll give you the friends and family discount if I ever start charging for anything. Can we talk about psych a little bit? Yeah, I mean, if you have any specific questions about psych, we can definitely talk about that. I don't have anything on my mind right now, but if you got any specific questions, let me know for sure. Let's take a look around the other markets. What's NASDAQ doing? Still ranging. Stop me out. This is a choppy mess, right? Like, do I want to put on a ton of risk in this? I don't. And Joe Black, that's not true. That crude trade. All right, Richard Steele says, most of this is way over my head. I'm going to turn the music off because we got to break this down. I want this to be as simple as possible. So let me turn the music off. And trust me, I know sometimes I can talk about a topic, especially if it's a volume topic. I can talk about it as if, you know, it is common knowledge, and I understand that it's not, music's not on, right? All right, cool. So who said that? Richard Steele. Most of this is way over my head. Richard, I'm probably, I wouldn't say the simplest trader ever, because that's definitely Dakota. 3-bar reversal, and he's not that simple either, right? 3-bar reversals happen in context, but here's what I'm looking for. There's a couple of things, right? And I did a class with the VIP alumni in Topstep Discord last week. We broke trading down into 3 categories: your edge, risk, and your behaviors, right? So the trade setups that you see me take are the edge. My edge is reading momentum and volume and then taking trades from there. The risk, very simple. I have an ATR indicator. Whatever that value says, 2 times that number is my risk. That's it, right? So edge, risk, behaviors. Risk, will make it very simple. Use this ATR. Whatever time frame you're executing your trades on, multiply it by 2. That's your risk. And anything we're saying here is for educational purposes only, not trading or investment advice. The behaviors will leave. That's the psych conversation. The edge is, to a high probability, what do I see playing out over time? My edge is being able to read volume. When I say read volume, see this red line here? That red line is volume. That's the market to me. That is VWAP, the volume weighted average price, and it only moves as price and volume move. If price moves alone and there's no volume going with it, I'm looking at that as an empty move. So again, if price goes and volume doesn't, it's an empty move, right? Just keep that in mind real quick. Keep that in mind real quick, right? If price moves, volume doesn't, it's empty. So we have this first 30-minute range, right? This is where the session opened up. Volume, which is this red line, it's flat. Price moved above a range. Volume didn't. This is empty. There's no one really convinced that price needs to trade higher. Otherwise, the volume would have gone with it. This is an opportunity. It's not a guarantee, but it's an opportunity to sell crude oil, right? Then we get price trade back down. And where does it have the potential to trade to? This is a range trade, right? So my target on this would be the lower extreme, or maybe 50% of this range. Then we had it again. Price moved. And if you hear me on opening call with Hogue saying price advertised, but volume didn't, this is a big key. Price advertised lower than this range, right? This is my anchor point. Price advertised lower than this range. Where's volume? Volume didn't go with it, right? So what does it have the likelihood to do? Push back to the other side. When price advertises higher again, where's volume? It's not going with it. We fall back into the range. I'll show you a trending market in just a little bit. But let's look at micro gold, because that is starting to pump here. Points, Edgar. Points. Right? So let's take a look now. Why am I in this gold trade? Edge, risk, behaviors, right? What is the edge? The edge is the volume read. Since I've gotten into this trade, here's the first 30-minute range. Hopefully you see how this looks different than crude oil and the NASDAQ right now. Price is advertising higher. What is volume doing? Volume left this range. That's why I'm long. Right? I'm not long because I want the price to go up. I'm not long because gold has to trade all-time highs. I'm not long because there's a war going on. I'm long because whoever trades the volume in gold to have this VWAP leave the range to the upside is doing that right now. So I'm just trying to get in the flow with them, right? So hopefully this looks different than crude oil and the NASDAQ. And then it's about finding my place to get in with measured risk. I'm going to go down to a 3-minute chart. You could always rewatch this, take notes. If you have questions, ask me in the Discord chat or whatever it is. Ask me during at the buzzer. But the reason I'm in this long is because the Asia session opens up. We get a spike of volume. And for the day so far, price has been trying to trade higher with volume behind it. And that's it. What is the edge? Realizing what the volume is going to do and trading with it. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you ask me during at the buzzer or in the Discord chat. Make sure you hit that like button also. Giving out some free game here. Giving out some free game. But again, this is how I trade every day. All right. We got another half an hour to go. The top of the hour just came and went. My trail point could move up below this little flagging pattern here. We'll see if this holds. If it doesn't hold, cool. We got to within, a couple points of my stop, or my target. So it doesn't really make sense to, have this trade come down. Why don't we take some more out of it? If I get more likes than Dakota, does he get replaced? Absolutely not. No, there's no way I'm streaming this time every day. Shout out to Dakota. This is his time. Slow markets is his baby. I'm just filling in right now because he's traveling. I do at the buzzer every day. That's my thing. Multiply the entire number. So right now, why don't we do a pop quiz? I'm on a 3-minute chart right now. What would my stop be in the NASDAQ? If I took a trade right now, what would my stop have to be? For anyone that's asking about that ATR. $64. Perfect. Why? 32 times 2. That's it. That's the stop. Does that guarantee that the trade is going to work? No. But what that does guarantee is, has anyone ever did this before? I'm actually going to put on the big contract. This is just the combine. Don't worry about it. I'm going to put on a big contract. Anybody ever get long? And we're going to change this to a dollar amount. Anybody ever do this? You're long and you're like, $400. That's how much I'm going to lose? I can't lose that much, right? I got to set this here. What has happened almost every 3-minute candle in the last half an hour? We've traded this price. Right? So what's the likelihood that I'm going to get stopped out? It's pretty high, right? We're going to move this out of the way and I'm going to go back to points. We're going to set it to 64 points. Now, you see how far out of the way my stop is? Some people are going to look at this and be like, this guy is trying to make people blow their combines. I'm going to tell you that those people are trading with too big a size. My stop right now is 64 points. And I'm not saying this is a good trade. This is probably not a good trade. But if this was a good trade, do I want to get stopped out just because the market is doing its natural fluctuations? Or do I want to say, hey, you know what? The market hasn't traded in this area. It would take 2 full 3-minute candles to the downside to stop me out. And if that's the case, then guess what? I'm wrong. This trade with a 1-lot mini costs $1,295. With a micro, that's $129. So where's the opportunity to change, right? What's the variable? Variable is not the stop placement. The variable is the size that I'm trading. So with a 1-lot micro, yeah, I could risk $130. With a mini, I don't feel comfortable risking $1,200. So I'm not going to set my stop there. But look at where the stop is. Has the market traded at this price in the last 4 hours? It hasn't. So my stop here is asking the market to do something that it hasn't done. H Truth, I coached basketball for 12 years. And I was a varsity coach for 4 years. So if that's where you're getting that from, that's probably it. Uh, but yeah, this is not a good trade. But even if it wasn't the best trade location, you don't think it's the worst trade because of what we talked about already. What is the Nasdaq showing it's been doing so far? Ranging, right? Does that mean the range is not going to break? No. And we rejected off of VWAP a couple of times, so I'd be probably more inclined to not take this range trade. But the first one I took was a good trade. If I traded with a stop too tight, I'm stopped out. I think I have psychological issues with my trading. I can't stomach this. I'm gonna quit. Trading's not for me. When really the reality is your stops are too tight and you're trading too big size, right? Somebody could have traded this with a 64-point stop. Maybe they didn't get a full 2-to-1 trade, but you got something out of it. Right? Somebody else is going to take this with too small size. They're not going to be able to stomach the $230 they're down right now, so they're going to want to go to break even as soon as this goes in the green, or they're going to want to stop their trades out right here and get stopped out of this trade. Right? So hopefully that makes sense. Again, anything we say here is for educational information purposes only, not trading or investment advice. If you are going to start to attempt to use a 2 ATR stop in your trades, do it in a practice account. Do it in a practice account. All right. That gold trade is cooking right now. Damn. I thought about adding to this. People ask all the time, when do you add to trades? Okay, let me just take that NASDAQ trade off. I don't like it. Did it for an example, and the example is not a good one. It's not a good trade. Right? Too big a size, though. One lot, I just gave back all the profits that I made from gold. But when would I add to a trade? You see how this is kind of like a flagging pattern here, right? We had the breakout. Then we have these equal lows here, equal highs. And I think this market has the potential to break out. On the push lower here, and I don't set my stops right at the lows, I would add here, if I was paying attention, I would add on these lows because I'm not adding a ton of risk to the trade, right? Adding for the potential breakout. I wouldn't add at these highs, but if we get on these lows here, that's where I would potentially add to this. All right. Can you reiterate why 64 points? 100%. Because in the NASDAQ, you see this ATR value right here. There's an indicator on the bottom of my chart. I'm going to make this big. See this indicator right here? This ATR. You see how that value changes? At the time I'm taking the trade, the value was 32. The suggestion is your stop is 2 times that value. So if it's 30, that means your stop is 60. If it's 10, that means your stop could be 20. If it's 100, that means you probably shouldn't be trading that market right now. But that's why. With the 2 ATR, you have to have great trade location. Pulling a 2 ATR in the middle of the range is a disaster. SBEC, I think with any trade, you have to have good trade location, right? That good trade location, that's the edge, right? You break trading down into 3 things: edge, risk, behavior. If you don't have an edge and you're just entering in the middle of the range, you're going to get 2 ATR stopped. You're going to get long, 2 ATR stopped to the downside. You're going to get short, 2 ATR stopped to the upside. So you have to have an edge first. You can't just trades, right? But then when you put on the trades, give the market enough room to work. And that's really the idea, right? So you can't just, please don't just blindly put on a trade and say, hey, Jay said 2 ATR stops, I should be good. You're going to get stopped out. Edgardo, thanks for joining. Catch you later. For your range, you take the first 30 minutes only. So Zoro, great question. Overnight session. Put a 1 in the chat if the overnight session has lower volume than the regular trading hours. Put a 2 in the chat if the overnight session has less volume than the regular trading hours. Right? We do a little pop quiz here. 1 if overnight is lower volume. 2 if overnight is more volume. Overnight's more volume. I see a lot of 2s. that what I said? Did I speak backwards? One, if overnight is less volume. Two, if overnight is more volume. A lot of ones, right? The overnight session is more often than not going to be lower volume. So I'm going to go with a higher time frame in the overnight session. I'm going to look for a 30-minute. Why? Because I want to give more volume the chance to, interact with the markets. For fast markets, I'm using a 3-minute chart because there's more volume. The moves are going to happen a little bit quicker. There's more opportunity in it. Now, every once in a while, is a 3-minute going to work out perfectly in the overnight session? It is. But what you want to try to do, everyone took a science class when we were in, middle school or high school, right? There's variables and there's constants. Some things you have to keep a constant. If I'm changing my trading time frame to try to find the trade that works out, that's way too much of a variable every day, right? So in the overnight session, I'm going to look for a 30. During the New York session, I'm going to look at a 3, and that's it. And you could use whatever time frame, right? It doesn't have to be a 3. I saw some people, talking about 15-minute opening ranges. I think there was a question about, my win rate during during the first 15 minutes of the market. If you have a strategy to trade it, you could trade the first 15 seconds of the market. If you look at my Russell trades today, and everybody's different, right? There's no right or wrong answer in trading. Back over. That gold trade is very nice. Anyone else long gold? Hopefully not, not a follow trade, but look at this target hit thing. I don't know, chat. Saw some people on social media saying I couldn't trade. I'm not sure where they got that information from, but really nice trade there in gold. Even though it's on a combine, again, I don't have the data for gold in my live account, but we will get it soon. But hopefully that made sense. The ad would have been amazing. And target hit, I don't know. We got 15 minutes left. If you guys got any other questions, we'll continue to scan for some trades. There's a trade setup named after you, the J trade. Absolutely. There is a J trade. If we see one, we'll call it out. Don't worry about this profit target. This is just a combine that I use for classes and just because I don't have full data on my live account yet. Please go over the entry. 100%, Brandon, I got you. All right, so I'll be honest. The initial entry was a B- setup at best. The initial entry was a B- setup at best. And Brandon, I know you join all the time, but why was it a B-? Because the higher time frame for the day, volume was trading higher. But from the time I took the trade, which was the Asia session open, this was saying range bound market. So this initial trade, I got in 51.69 at the high of this range. I'll be honest, I was hoping for a breakout that didn't necessarily have to happen. Right. So I got in small size where I'm comfortable with the risk. My initial 2 lot was risking about $400, which I was comfortable with. But you might have heard me say, and if you go back and watch it, we explained why I added to this. I said, I like the higher time frame is pushing up. So if this gives me an opportunity to pull back to 50% of this range with volume still above it, from this point, this is an anchored VWAP from 8 p.m. Eastern time. You see how this VWAP is above 50%? So this is telling me that there are some buyers up here that tried to push price higher. If I get an opportunity to get a better price than them, then I'll add. That's why I added here. And then the flow for the day continued. My risk was below the low of this candle, and the flow continued from there. Richard Harris, you got haters? Don't worry about them either. But hopefully that makes sense, right? So the initial entry, would I take it again? 100%, right? I would take that entry again. I wasn't over leveraged, right? So even if that was going to stop me out, there was a point in this trade I said, oh yeah, this is probably going to stop me out. If that was in a combine or my live account or my personal account, if it stopped me out, I wouldn't care, right? It's, people are just like, oh, this guy, like, these guys always lose trades or whatever. Like, you get to see a small sample size of the amount of trades that we take, right? That Russell trade today, somebody could have watched me lose this trade in a combine and be like, oh, this guy sucks. Why does anybody listen to him? And they didn't see the Russell trade that fit the same process and made $2,000 in 15 minutes, right? So, any trade that you take, any trade that you see somebody take, understand that's one data point. But In this case, if this stopped me out, that was just one of the times where it was going to happen. But because this volume stayed above 50%, I was comfortable adding to this trade. Why did you anchor to 8 p.m.? I love answering questions with a question. Why did I anchor to 8 p.m.? Can anybody tell me? Why did I anchor to 8 p.m. here? Somebody knows. High volume. You see how this 8 p.m. candle here? Who asked that question? Mr. Butters. See how this 8 p.m. candle here is the highest volume of the day so far? I'll ask another question. Why did Dakota move slow markets to 8 p.m. Eastern instead of 8:30? Because I'm in Jersey. Right? Why did Dakota move the time of slow markets? Because more volume happens in that first half an hour. And now in this case, the trade still took a half an hour to play out, but sometimes this high volume, because it's a session open, this could just get going right away. So it's the Asia session open. It's the highest volume candle of the day so far. So I'm looking at that as an event. The event is the Asia session opens up. You attach volume to it, and it goes from there. Rocket Man, I did not play D1 basketball. I ran track for a year. Coach basketball, coach high school basketball. I did not play D1 basketball. I'm not that good. I wish I was. All right, let's take a quick scan of the markets again. Again, I'm flat right now. NASDAQ potential long. Again, for my trading setups, I don't know that I could grade any trade in the NASDAQ better than a B- right now. So is there a potential long? Maybe. Let's look at some higher time frame levels. But it's not something that I would be willing to put a ton of risk behind. For example, if I traded the NASDAQ right now in my live account, I would do it with micros. The Russell trade that I took this morning, I was short 6 big contracts because I have conviction in that trade. I don't have super conviction in anything here in the NASDAQ. And, not trading is a trade as well. I do see a long just because this extension to the downside is not happening on any real volume. But how much risk would I put behind that? Edge risk behaviors. I have like the dullest edge ever here. So the risk has to be super small. I think what happens is everybody puts the same risk behind every trade, and not every trade deserves the same risk. Right? It's like going to be not a good example, but it's like dating, right? You might go on a bunch of dates before you find the person that's your person. Right? So if you're going to, that's not a good example. We'll just stop right there. Not every trade deserves the same risk. Just trade the green candles that I have to do, no problem. Yeah, I don't know where that example was going. So if you let me talk for too long, you might hear something crazy. So I'll just stop. Did I just compare trading and dating? I did. And it's similar. You hear traders all the time say, don't get married to every trade, right? Don't get married to your bias. You don't get married to the person that you know is not good for you. Maybe you do. I'm not married, so, but I will be married one day. But you got to find the right person first. Doing it again. Can we change the topic, please? Anybody else have any questions? J Trade breakdown. Amazing. Siwa, thank you. Thank you for switching topics there. I needed to get out of that one. Save myself. All right. Let's find a J Trade. MK, I appreciate that. Somebody on Twitter told me I have no personality the other day. And again, when I'm saying that stuff, I'm joking. Somebody on Twitter said I don't have a personality, and they didn't have a profile picture, so I don't know why we would take their opinion for anything. Let's find a J trade. All right. Here's a potential J trade. Quit reading that. Yeah, it's hard to, right? It's part of my job, right? To post on Twitter, be engaging with the community and stuff like that. But it's Twitter, right? They actually did a cleanup of Twitter today. I saw which is actually, really smart. Like, all jokes aside, there, right now, war going on and things like that. There's a bunch of AI videos that are on Twitter right now, and they did I forgot what his name is, but he's like a pretty high up position at Twitter right now. Posted yesterday that any pages that are in their revenue share program, if they post any AI war videos and they don't say that it's AI, they get banned from the revenue share program, which I thought was a big step in Twitter. There's so much, it's just a mess. But I thought that was pretty cool. All right, so potential J trade here, right? So what a J trade is a reversal. It's a reversal pattern. Sometimes it's going to look like a 3-bar reversal. Sometimes it's going to take a little bit more, but there has to be high volume. Now, this is not all right. Any J traders out there? Anybody who's taken a J trade recently? Can you give me an example? Because this is not the best one. But basically, what you're looking for is a high volume candle that sets the high or the low for the day, and then a reversal from that. So this is not a good one because this is the close in crude oil. So I'm not going to look at that one. We're going to ignore that. Do I still see a MGC long? Trying to find that J trade example. So gold hit my target, right? Gold hit my target of 5200s. If I saw a long here, it would have to that VWAP from the Asia session open. It would have to pull back to at a minimum 5178s, but if not, it would have to pull back to this VWAP here and hold. Right here, I could establish the risk, but what's the edge here? What's the edge in taking a long here in gold? I don't know that I have one. So, could I take the long and just risk somewhere like this? I could, but I don't have much of an edge in this trade, so I don't know that I see it here, especially because it already hit my target. You see this response to 5200? It stopped on a dime. One of the things you could do, we won't get that deep. It's a little extended. A little extended right now. Yeah, Richard Harris, I got you. This morning, okay, man cave. Yes, thank you. Man cave. The morning 1 minute candle was a perfect J trade. 1031. This one was all right. We'll go to the 3 minute. On a 3 minute, it showed up better. So this is like a B plus. I'm looking for like A plus plus, but this is like a B plus. So what was it? High volume at the lows. Once we close above the high, that's the long. And this was it turned out to be a great trade. And, a lot of times it's going to look like a Dakota 3-bar reversal. But what you're looking at is, hold on 1 second, chat. So what we're looking for is high volume that sets the low or the high for the day. Every time I do an example of this, somebody's like, well, how do you know that's going to be the low? You don't know that. Good point. So we don't try to catch this low. We said it earlier, right? Too many traders try to figure out how they could buy this low tick. That's not your job, right? But if we get high volume that starts a reversal, once I get a candle close on the other side of that, to me, that confirms a reversal. You hear Dakota say it all the time, right? A confirmed 3-bar reversal is a close above the high. Risk goes on the other side or 2 ATRs. You see how the risk on the other side, and what's that ATR value here? 55, right? So my stop could either go here or it could go 110 points. What am I looking for? A 2-to-1 trade. Did we get a 2-to-1? Yes. So a J trade is a high volume reversal. I'm going to share an image in a second here. We got about 5 minutes left. NQ just broke out short. Is that a definitive short? That's what I'll ask. And on what time frame? Right? I always have to ask that question because everybody looks at different time frames. On my time frame, I don't see it is moving lower. I don't know if it's definitive yet. And that might mean I might miss that trade. You could see something completely different from me though. And if that's the case, take your trades. Brandon, I'm still confused on the entry of the 3-minute trade. Is it just when VWAP is above it? Yeah. So honestly, so here's the thing, right? there's theory and there's execution. In theory, I should not have been in this gold trade until VWAP left that range, if I'm trading the theory, right, Brendan? But sometimes, if you've ever played a sport, right, if you look at videos of the 1960s of how they shot a basketball, no one shoots a basketball like that, right? But we have the greatest shooter ever who doesn't have a picture perfect form, right? So the video that I shared earlier, and I'll share it again in the chat. The video that I shared earlier is when theory and execution kind of meet each other, and then operating in real time. And you're not being rude, don't worry about it. But this trade, in theory, did not have to work out. In execution, it did, because on a higher time frame, we were trading higher. But in theory, this trade didn't have to work out. So my execution of it, what you'll do, what I'll try to say is, don't try to execute exactly like me, right? Or anybody else. Try to understand how somebody comes to a decision, and then you might find that you wait for your executions right here. And trust me, this has happened, right? Somebody has taken something that I've taught on At the Buzzer or something that Dakota's taught, and they trade it way better than us, right? So what's the theory here? The theory is volume is trading higher. The execution of it, somebody could enter up here, somebody could enter down here. My execution on the first one was a little too early, right? I preempted the trade. So I built a position based on the theory. The execution is not going to be perfect, right? You're never going to be able to replicate somebody's execution of a trade. It's not going to happen. Please just tell me when to trade. That might cost money. That might cost money, John. And hopefully you're okay when I'm wrong. How do you create that box? This is just a fib tool. Alt F is the hotkey. And mine looks like that because I took all the levels out of the middle, right? So I only have 0.5 and 1. How many likes are we at right now? So we got a minute and 30 seconds left. How many likes are we at? 402. All right, no, I'm not sharing anything else. I've given away enough. Starting to lose my voice sharing so much. If we get to 600 likes before we end here in the next 2 minutes, I will share an image of a J trade. And it's a 1-page document that breaks down the entire setup. If we get to 600 likes in the next 2 minutes, you got until 9:30 Eastern time. If not, great session as always, everybody. Thank you for joining. Thanks for tuning in. And Coach Dakota's traveling right now, so I'm filling in for him. A+ wise, Brandon, VWAP would have left the range very early. We might get to 600 here. We got 30 seconds. 522. And if you join At the Buzzer, you're already seeing this image, so you don't have to worry about it. You got it already. 20 seconds. Done it. How are we going to do it? Reprice action the same as Thomas Wade. I think I looked up Thomas Wade. Brandon, don't be sorry for asking questions. Asking questions is how you learn. 5 seconds. I'm going to hit the refresh. Did we hit it? Oh, we did. Catch you next time, everybody. Thank you for joining. I'll see you all for Fast Markets tomorrow. Trade well out there, manage your risk. Hopefully you learned something. And if you did, if you have any other questions, message me in Discord. Join At the Buzzer after the market close, and we'll get there. But have a good night, and we all